Welcome to Books and Besties, the virtual book fair. Share this link with others and get ready for something awesome. Books and Besties, the virtual book fair.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time zone you're in. Welcome to today's episode of Books and Besties. I am your co-host, Dr. Angie BEE, and this is the day the Lord has made for us. I'm rejoicing and I'm glad about it. I'm glad in it. Really excited about the show today. Got an eclectic lineup of guests that we're planning to chat with. Got a lot of news and information for you today, books that you need to be checking out, and other podcasts and shows and artists, and it's just, we got so much. So I'm gonna get the show kicked off right quick with an announcement. Mother's Day weekend, we want you to join us for the 4th annual Maternal Matters Favored 24-hour marathon. It's 24 hours of spreading awareness and raising funds for Maternal Matters Favored. So I got a quick little video I want to throw in here so that you can mark your calendar and be ready to join us for 24 hours. Maternal Matters Favored, mmfavored.org presents their 4th annual charity broadcast event for those with perinatal and postpartum mood disorders. This 24 Hours of Favor annual fundraiser takes place Mother's Day weekend. Mental health aids maternal health. Seeing mothers, supporting minds, and saving lives. Broadcast produced by Angie BEE Productions. Log on to mmfavored.org for more information. That's mmfavored.org for more information. 24 hours of favor. "24 Hours of Favor." It's going to be a really good show. And I invite you to log on and just have an open mind, whether you've gone through mental health issues or not, or you know somebody who has. The information that they plan to share during the 24 hours is relative to anyone, men, women, parents, and children. Everyone needs to know more about perinatal mental health. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to bring in my co-host and executive producer of Books and Besties, Avalon.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. You did a great job getting our guests lined up for the show today. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait. I want to give a shout out to those that are watching us on YouTube. Thank you for your comments. Thank you. We love you too. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please tell us where you're watching from. What city, what state, what country? Where are you joining us from, so that we can add you to our prayers and keep you in mind. Okay. Avalon, what you been working on lately?
Well, I'm working on my new anthology. It's called Preparing for the Next Generation, Voices from Professional Nurse Education. Someone had to teach us how to be nurses. It starts in the classroom, and then when you get to the hospital or whatever facility, you have to be orientated by preceptors. You have to do in-services by nurse educators. So I gathered nurse educators and preceptors and I asked them a couple of questions, and they each gave me a chapter of their experiences and what they want to pass on to the next generation about
Mhm.
learning about being nurses.
Good, good. That's good. I'm looking forward to reading that one. You think, who do you think your book should be targeted to? High school students that may want a career in nursing, or those that are already in nursing school?
I think the ones in high school can read it. It will give them an idea of what nurse educators are about and what they want to teach them. But more so, the nursing students and those nurses that are new. Some
Yeah.
seasoned nurses that go to a different specialty, they can
Hmm.
benefit from that too because they also have to have a preceptor when they go into a different specialty, even if they're a seasoned nurse. You don't know anything about that area. So someone has
Hmm.
to follow you at least for 6 to 8 weeks. So, before
Hmm.
they let you on your own.
Yeah, yeah. That's going to be a powerful project. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to those that contributed. They're so busy out there, because I'm retired, but I know how busy they are, and I'm grateful that they took the time to even give me a chapter.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, send me your book cover and your images, and we'll do a commercial for you, so you
Oh,
can
thank you.
have something to
Thank you.
post. No problem, no problem. We love you, and we want to be sure we can get this good word spread out to the folks who need it. Definitely, definitely. Well, it looks like Marissa Hall is waiting to talk to us, and I'm waiting to talk to her. Can you
Yes.
read her bio for us, please?
Yes. Marissa Hall is an emerging author, mental health advocate, and a groundbreaking rodeo champion. Her
Wow.
upcoming children's book, Maya and Me, is an inspiring tale drawing from her real life journey, overcoming anxiety and adversity to succeed in one of the most competitive, high pressure sport arenas. A first generation rodeo champion, Marissa entered the sport without any family history or background in rodeo, a rarity in an industry often rooted in generation of tradition. At just 14 years old, she won her first championship and continued to break barriers, later becoming the first four-time Maryland High School Rodeo Associate Association all-around cowgirl champion and the first African American two-time rodeo queen in Maryland. That's Maryland, New Jersey.
Oh,
I mean, not Maryland, New Jersey. That's probably in Maryland. Okay.
okay.
In
Okay.
in but it's near New Jersey. It's maybe 3 or 4 hours from New Jersey. Okay.
You'll
So
claim her. You'll
we
claim her.
taking
Yep.
we claiming you, Marissa.
Yep.
In just
Yep.
4 seasons, she earned 19 titles with the National Barrier Horse Association and
Wow.
competed in events like barrel racing, pole bending, and goat tying, all
Wow.
while overcoming significant performance anxiety. Marissa is currently a Dean's List student, majoring in psychology at Mount St. Mary's University, with plans to become a clinical therapist specializing in youth empowerment. Her powerful story has been featured by Nickelodeon, the Cowboy Channel, local news outlets, and the Washington Post.
Oh, welcome
Yes,
to the show, girl. Welcome to the
yes. Woo.
show. Oh,
Hi,
good morning.
Marissa.
Good morning.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Mhm.
Yes, yes, we can.
Hi, good morning.
Yes,
Thank you so much for having me.
yes.
Thank
You
you for
had such an
joining us.
introduction. Yes, I'm telling you,
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so
your
much.
bio is amazing.
Thank
So tell
you.
us a little bit more about Marissa.
Well, right now, I am 19. I'm 19 years old. Like you read in my bio, I go to school at Mount St. Mary's University. That's where I am right now. I'm in my dorm. I'm currently I'm a D1 cheerleader for the school. I am a sophomore. I used to compete in rodeos, and now I've used, like how in my bio we've talked about how I struggled with a lot of performance anxiety and I struggled with a lot of mental health and all that culmination under the pressure of what athletes go through, and especially student athletes. That kind of inspired me to want to become a sports psychologist. Like under my clinical therapist title, I want to specialize in working with student athletes to try to help them realize that your performance does not make who you are, and that sometimes it is okay to fail. Failure is a learning opportunity, and you don't have to stress yourself out or base your self-worth off of if you fail or not, or whether if you succeed.
And that is so relevant. I was watching the Winter Olympics and the ice skating portion of it, and the little fella that they called the quad god, because I guess he was doing, and his last performance, you could just see that he was just so stressed out and ridden with anxiety. And so what you're studying is really necessary. It's really needed.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, because kind of what happened to him, that happened to me at my senior year nationals. I went out to Gillette, Wyoming, and I was so anxious about whether I was going to do well or not that I ended up like blowing my run. And a few of them, like not even just one, I blew a few, and it still like sits with me to this day that I let myself get to that place where I'm sitting on my horse and I'm physically shaking because I'm so worried on whether I'm going to do well or not, instead of just having fun. It's my senior year. It's my last rodeo with the High School Rodeo Association, which I've given for my 4 years of my life to, and they've given me so many opportunities, and that's where I used to rodeo, and I love it so much. And it's sometimes when I look back on it, it just hurts to see how much I got in my own head, and I wonder what could have happened if I didn't. But I also understand that things happen for a reason. I think that moment there is kind of what inspired me to do to pursue this career.
Yes. Absolutely wonderful. How is I'm sorry, Avalon, go ahead, honey.
No, go ahead, Angie.
How is college life now compared to everything that you did in high school?
To be honest, it is sometimes like a breath of fresh air. And it kind of sounds bad, but when I'm in college, I have a lot more free time. And but sometimes when I get to the heavy part of cheerleading season, where I have 3 games a week, I have practice, I have lift, it does get very tiring. What I did in high school and the schedule that I had in high school, college prep classes and a college prep school, I rodeoed. I had a rodeo almost every weekend. I had a whole lot of homework. I was in honors classes. I was a part of other clubs. The schedules are now starting to like mimic each other. So it's nothing that I'm not used to.
You're used to it, all right. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, Bishop Linda Brown Hall says that you are amazing. So thank you, Bishop, for joining us.
That's my grandmother. Thank you, Grandma. Love you.
Hi, grandmother. Yeah, that was sort of on the same. Well, it was sort of on the same line that you just asked her, because I was going to ask, has college or the fact that you're majoring in the psychology kind of helps you with your thoughts and why you went through so much anxiety during the rodeo?
Yes. Taking my love for psychology was kind of always there, because I was always interested in why people did what they did, why people made these certain choices. And when you realize that all of that happens in your brain, and that can come from experiences that people had when they were children, how they lived their lives. And it all came into fruition when I took AP Psych my senior year of high school. Because like before then, I was going to be a movie director. I wanted to be a movie director. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I had all these different jobs that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a history teacher. And then I started taking psychology. And the more that I learned about it, I was like, this is really paramount. This helps a lot of people. And I grew up going to therapy to help with my anxiety, to help with my depression, my panic attacks. And so obviously that helped me figure out what's going on in my brain, talking it out with my therapist. But the more that you learn about it, and like even now I'm in neuroscience now, because psychology is a lot of theories where it's like this could happen because of this, when neuroscience is like there is different neurotransmitters that go into your brain that produce hormones that make you feel this. So both sides is fascinating to see how much like your brain can do and how much power it can have over your body.
Yeah.
Because I believe that too. Like everything starts in the mind.
I am a woman that lives with a traumatic brain injury, and when I say that to people, they're like, but you do this and this and this. And I'm like, but you don't see me when I'm in the bed. You don't see me when I've got this going on or that going on. So I hear you. Everything starts in the brain. Everything does. Marissa, how would you like for people to contact you? I want to put it on the screen. Do you have a website or email address? What's good?
I like this because it's pretty easy. Everything. I have a website. I have a Facebook, a Gmail, and an Instagram that are all under Writing with Marissa Hall. It's all one, all lowercase.
Okay. Marissa Hall. Okay, I got your website up there.
Thank you.
That'll take everybody to the right place. So I want to know what inspired you to write your book.
Well, and it's a funny story because originally, like, I had no plans on writing a book. I've written things before, like when I was in high school, I wrote a couple of school plays. I've written a couple of short stories just for fun. And when I think it was my junior year, people, like, I heard it from a few different people. They were like, you should probably write a book. Like, your story's inspiring. And I'm always the kind of person who's like, well, my story ain't that inspiring because I did it. And it's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like you feel like it's supposed to happen, so you don't understand the how big of a deal it actually is. But it's something that's my dad and I still kind of go toe to toe with still today, where he's like, this is a big deal. Like you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And I'm like, it's really not that big of a deal. I'm happy that it happened, but it's really not that big of a deal. But the more that I heard that you should write a book, you should write a book, you should write a book, I gave in and I was like, okay, I'll write a children's book about Maya, who was my first horse. And basically she taught me almost everything that I know. She taught me the grit and the perseverance that rodeo, or basically any sport that you play when you're learning something new, comes with. And it's funny because I wrote the first draft of the book on a train Christmas Day to go to New York to see a Broadway show with my dad.
Wow.
And then we met with a few people and we made some revisions, but I think about it a lot. I wrote it in a span of maybe an hour and a half on a train.
It was already in you. That's how you, it was already in you.
Yes, ma'am.
That is impressive. You hear that, Avalon? An hour and a half.
An hour. It's possible, yes.
We got to speed up a little bit. Oh my goodness, such an inspiration. That's such an inspiration.
Thank you.
So how did you get into Nickelodeon, or they contacted you, or how you were featured?
Yes, I was on Nick News, I think my junior year of high school. It was a big deal. Like, they came out to my school to get footage of me and everything. They came to one of my rodeos. They came to my house and a few practices that I went to. And it was actually so much fun. Tiffany Williams was the lady in charge of like the Nick News segment. And she made me feel so comfortable because I've always had like anxiety about like being on TV, the way that I was going to be represented and how like my story was going to be put out there, because a lot of things can change in communication between people, and then it can change between how it gets shown on the TV and the story that you wanted to present originally.
Correct.
And she made the filming process so comfortable. Like I didn't feel like I was constantly being watched or there was a camera on me the entire time. It genuinely felt like my dad and I were having a practice and they were just in the background. And it was very nice. It was very fun. I'm very grateful for the experience. A lot of my friends I didn't tell a whole lot of my friends about it previously. I just told the friends that my class that they were going to come into. And then I had a whole bunch of people who were like, "Oh my gosh, I saw you were on Nick News. I saw you were on Nick News." And it was a very great experience. My dad and I sat and we watched it when it premiered, and it was so great. I'm so happy that I had that experience.
Wow,
Nice.
fascinating.
Isn't
That
that
is wonderful. We got to give some shout outs because we got folks that are watching. Bishop Grandma says hello to everyone. And she also says that your book was definitely in you. That's why it was so easy for it to come out. It was definitely in you. Shout out to Michelin Moss, who is watching us. It's good to see that you're enjoying the show today. And author Shantae Lennon is with us today on Facebook. So thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to take just a really quick break. Don't go anywhere, Marissa. We'll be right back. Just got a couple of little things we want to tell you about, we want you to know about. And we'll be back with more of Books and Besties.
In a world full of noise, our stories whisper truth. Stories of faith, hope, and redemption made to uplift your spirit and stir your soul. Featuring award-winning films, Walking in the Spirit. If not for the Lord, where would I be? Delicious. And the live stage play, It Ain't Over Till God Says Over. And now, the newest film added to the streaming platform, The Signature, in collaboration with Jean Louise and James Burke. Download, rent, or stream our films at www.sisterbattenfilms.com. In Worthy Beyond Expectations, Tamisi Gordon shines a powerful light on the unspoken weight often carried by firstborn children. From responsibility placed on young shoulders to silent sacrifices made for the sake of the family, this heartfelt story explores the pressure to be strong, mature, dependable, beyond their years, through struggle, resilience, and self-discovery. Worthy Beyond Expectations gives voice to the eldest child's journey, reminding us that even the strongest need understanding, support, and space to simply be a child. Worthy Beyond Expectations by Tamisi Gordon. Audiobook produced by Angie BEE Productions and narrated by me, the Queen Bee, Angie BEE. Angie BEE presents Aisha Ya.
There's a way you take enough like
An Air Force veteran serving 7 years, Aisha Ya struggled with alcoholism. This continued until 2021. At that time, he cried out to the Most High for deliverance and truth. And just like that, the Lord guided him to Scripture. The Most High delivered him from alcoholism and revealed truth that totally changed his life. He now has a new song that he wants people to hear. Send an email to cedenough@hotmail.com.
Well, I told you we had a lot of news and information for you today in the show. The new book, Worthy Beyond Expectations. We want you to find that on Amazon. And Asa Yah has beautiful new music coming out, and he wants us to know about it. So let's get Avalon back in here. And Avalon, Marissa said she was 14 years old on a horse.
Yes. Yeah.
I know some 14-year-olds that don't even want to go for a walk, much less.
I'm telling you. What an amazing story. Yes.
Oh my goodness. And the relationship she must have had with her horses, she was anxious, but I guess the horse must have stayed calm, or I don't know if horses are like dogs. They can sense when you're upset and you're anxious.
Yeah,
So,
when you get real close to them, yes.
yep.
You know, y'all develop a relationship.
Sister Hall, how do you describe the relationship between you and your horse when you're competing?
It's definitely a partnership, because you have to work with your horse and your horse also has to work with you. And it's one of those things where it's not a car. It's not an object. Like, your horse it's a being. It has its own brain. It has its own way of thinking, and it has its own fears, its own anxieties, its own things that it's good at, its own things that it's bad at, and things that it needs to work on. But what you need to do is, first off, for me, I prefer to know my horses, learn the aspects of my horses. I want to know what they're afraid of. I want to know what they like. I want to know what they don't like, what they're good at, what they need work on. And what you have to do is, because like you guys said, that they are beings that can feel you. Like, they're huge animals, but they can feel a fly. They're scared of their own shadow. They're scared of a paper bag that their feed comes in. And what you need to do is you need to make sure that you are in the correct headspace, that you can make up for your horse when your horse doesn't do well. Because that happens. And then sometimes your horse can tell. Like, there have been days where I have been scared and terrified to go in there, and my horse Sid's like, relax, I got you. I know what I'm doing. And that relationship that comes with spending time with your horse, riding your horse, not just race, but sometimes it could just be in the middle of the day, if you have time, going out, petting them, just sitting with them, taking them out on trail rides instead of constant race prep. It's building that relationship so they don't always associate you with work, and there becomes a distinct bond and love and trust between the two of you.
Wow.
Absolutely phenomenal. Some of what you said, I believe, could even transfer over to your book, to being an author. You don't just want to sit down and write just because you've got a deadline. You want to feel and experience the words that you're compiling. And
yes,
sometimes your book will write itself.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And so it sounds like each of those qualities from your sport have now transferred over to writing. And that is a blessing.
Yes.
That is a definite blessing. Oh my goodness.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you plan on writing another book?
I've thought about it. I'm not entirely sure if we've had the idea where there might be one children's book for each of the experiences that I've had on a horse, because I have a few horses and each one of them through a distinct part of my life. Um, but I've also been thinking about maybe writing a novel, because the kids book is for elementary school kids, and
Yeah.
maybe writing a novel that's for more like adults and high school, middle school kids, that they can understand like the complexities of what was really going on, besides the base level of like, okay, you want to do something, you have to persevere, you have grit. It's going to be hard, but if you push through, you will eventually get to where you need to be. Like that story, I think it's great for kids. It helps them. It's very simple. It gives them what they need. It's inspiring. I think that if I were to write another book, it would be more adult, and it'll explain like just the complexities and everything that happens to show truly what it means to be like behind the scenes of the Western lifestyle, to be behind the scenes of like even now what it is like as a D1 cheerleader in college.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like the transition of the basic story that everyone kind of has heard and people know already, into a more like dig beneath the layers kind of thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Memoir of your life. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah.
That is absolutely phenomenal. It's just,
Wow.
we do have a question that someone sent us by text. They want to know, did you own your own horse, or did you have to go to where the horse was to take care of the horse?
I was incredibly blessed. My first two horses, my father bought them, and we ended up moving to a place where we could house those horses. So they were right in my backyard, which was I'm very grateful for. It was a blessing, and it was very paramount in helping me build that relationship that I was talking about earlier with my horse, because I didn't have to drive anywhere. I didn't have to go anywhere to do anything. I just had to walk outside, and they were right there.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. What kind of advice do you have for someone who wants to enter that sport? Another 13 or 14-year-old?
I say my advice is know that it's not going to be easy going into it. And knowing that, but don't let that discourage you. Let yourself be open to learn, and let yourself be open to fail and to grow into learning, because in my opinion, rodeo teaches a lot of life lessons, like all sports do. And you have to be open, and you have to also be ready to handle the responsibility that comes with rodeo, because with rodeo, it's not just the sport itself. It's conditioning for your body. It's conditioning for the horse's body. You have to feed your horse, whether rain, sleet, snow, or shine. And you have to take care of them, make sure your horses are okay. Your horse's health is more paramount than yours is. And you have to be ready to take on the responsibility. And if you take on the responsibility with gratefulness and happiness that you have this opportunity to do this, you will have so much fun. Because rodeo isn't like any other sport that I've played, and I've played a few sports throughout my life. and it's I don't think that I've ever felt the adrenaline that I have from rodeo in any other sport besides cheerleading.
Okay.
Wow. Wow. And to
Did you have to
distinguish
do?
between the two. I'm sorry, Avalon. Go ahead, honey.
That's okay. No, I was going to ask her, did she have to do a lot of like workout in the gym and stuff in order to condition your body to be, or you have a different way of conditioning your body?
I did used to go to the gym. My dad's a physical therapist, so
Okay.
he knows his way around like what to do to strengthen this part of your body. That if I was riding, he would say like, "Oh, your knees are weak. We're gonna do these." And a lot of times, I'm going to be so honest, a lot of times I pushed back because I did not want to do any of those exercises at all. I was already tired, and it's 10 o'clock at night. And he's like, okay, we're going to go do some squats. And I'm like, I just want to go to bed. But it's the discipline that
Yeah.
you you don't want to do it, you don't want to stay up late, but you have to, because it's going to make you a better athlete and it makes you a better person, knowing that you have to do things to become the best that you can be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
We got some more shout outs. We got more people watching. Gwendolyn Sims says good morning and happy Saturday. I would love it if you guys would put your city and state or your country where you're watching from so that we know that we're reaching people. Shout out to the folks that are watching us on YouTube, Evangelist Angie BEE, and on our Facebook pages. Thank you so much. We do appreciate that. We are chatting with Marissa Hall, a college student that has written her first book, and pretty sure we're going to have her back on the show soon with her second book. But we don't want it to take away from your study time. We understand college may be a little more freeing than your original sport was, but we don't want to take up too much of your time. I just have maybe one or two more questions, but I'm gonna let Avalon go first. Avalon, you got another question for
She's
Marissa?
answered she's answered most of the questions for me.
Yeah. The next question is, it came from a text. What happens to your horses now that you're in college?
Well, my dad takes care of them now that I'm at college. When I come home for breaks, I try to make time to go and ride them. But I also try to balance time to see like people that I don't usually get to see. But I'm very grateful for my dad and all the work that he does when I'm not there. He rides them to make sure that they're still in shape. I think we're thinking about looking into the sell market or the lease market, because at the end of the day, like a lot of my horses, they're their best when they're racing. And because I don't have the time to come back during weekends to come and race and rodeo them, to me it would be the best thing for the horse. If they're happiest when they're racing, they should be racing. So I think we're looking at that. We're looking in that market too.
Wow.
But I still get to see them when I go home, and I'm very happy when I see them when I go home.
And you say the character Maya in your book is after one of your horses. Oh, that's so
Yes. Sweet. Maya was my very first horse.
Wow. Well, you got any advice for folks that, because we've got adults, I mean, good and grown adults that still say, well, everybody tells me I should write a book, but I don't know where to start. So what do you recommend?
I think my biggest recommendation is just to do it. Because if a whole lot of people are telling you, I've always been told, like, if there are a whole bunch of people that are telling you, especially people that you don't really know, that aren't like your closest friends, but they're people that are telling you, like, you're really inspiring, you should do this, and it's a consensus, then that probably means that you should do it. And I understand that going into something new that you haven't done before is a very scary and nerve-wracking experience, because you're afraid of failing, and especially on a book, you don't want to put out the wrong message and you don't want to perpetrate something that's not you. But in my opinion, you're going to have to go through it. You're going to have to write it. There's going to be a first draft. There's going to be a second draft. There's going to be third, fourth, fifth, however many drafts until you want it to be what you want it. Right. And you also have to be open to help.
Right.
Because I had help. I think a whole lot of authors have help. And because this isn't something that you can do by yourself. If you're open to just sitting down and saying, okay, I'm going to commit, I'm going to do it, it will get done, and you allow yourself to take the criticism that comes with it, and you allow yourself to grow, that also helps you become a better person as well as an author.
Absolutely. That is wonderful, dear. Wonderful. Do you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to leave us with before we let you go?
I think mostly for me, I just believe that everybody should live their life and do what makes them happy and live a life according to God and faith and perseverance, and that not everything is going to be easy, but if you stick with it, everything's going to turn out the way that it's supposed to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is fabulous. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sister Hall. We appreciate
No,
you for
thank you
being
so
here.
much for having me.
Oh, I hope you come back again soon, honey.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Enjoy your day. And thanks
All right,
again.
thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. Oh, she's wonderful. She's such an inspiration. Oh, my goodness. That is great. Listen, Mother's Day is almost here. And we're doing our 24 hours of favor, which means we'll be broadcasting for 24 hours to spread awareness on maternal mental health. So this little video tells you more about what we're going to be doing.
Tam here, founder and president of Maternal Matters Favored. We are getting ready for our fourth annual charity broadcast. And I had an opportunity to catch up with one of our previous board members, Courtney Barber. She was there from the beginning, right? Going back yesteryear, and tune in to listen to what we were chatting about.
So in a perfect world, I also think that we would be taking more of that family systems approach, and in community models of care. I think the ones that are very effective, we invite the family in, and it's not in a punitive way. It's not in a way that we think we're going to get in trouble. It's that we want you all to be on the same team in terms of the pregnancy, the birth plan, the postpartum. We're approaching it like teamwork, and it's such a different feeling. As a woman, some of us didn't have that, and when we see that we're able to provide that for when we see that we're able to provide that for someone, it's just magical. I mean, it's just magical. And the reason that is not just emotional, it's also science, right? We know this. Your cortisol and adrenaline levels impact everything. Like when someone is in labor and they're stalled or they're stuck, we think in the midwifery world, the old school way that I kind of studied, we think, well, if this were a mammal and they were in the forest and a hunter, your deer and you're laboring and a hunter were coming by, you would stop laboring, right? Like it's a survival instinct to say stop. So then we have someone who's laboring in a medical institution, and that maybe the doctor's being harsh with them, or somebody says, well, you have to this time and you're going to get a section, which I've seen unfortunately over the years.
24 hours of favor live Mother's Day weekend on Facebook and YouTube. Visit mmfavored.org for more information. Mommy, why do I have a cold? Written by Avalon Brown. Dedications. This book is dedicated to all of my grandchildren. You are always coming to hug and kiss Nana, especially when you have runny noses, sneeze, or cough. Nana loves you. Let's work together to keep the germ population down.
Mommy, where do colds come from? Why do I have one?
Mommy, why do I have a cold? Written by Avalon Brown. Narrated by Sonia B., Sandra B., produced for audiobook by Angie BEE Productions, and narrated by me, the Queen Bee, Angie.
Yeah, that's me, the Queen Bee, Angie BEE, and I'm thrilled to be your co-host today on Books and Besties. Our first guest was just an incredible young woman. And let me bring Avalon back in here. Avalon, please stay in touch with her so she can come back. I want to hear how her
Yes.
grades are doing. I want, I want to, I want to be there when she graduates.
I know. Oh gosh, she's so intelligent on the dean's list, and to do all that at such a young age, it does take discipline. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, she was a jewel, absolute jewel. Okay, I know that you take more than an hour and a half to write a book, but by the time you finish with it, it's wonderful. So tell us about the newest book that's coming.
Well, the I was telling you about the anthology, but there's a new. Which one of the new children books coming out? I'll tell you,
I
I'm
know
working
you
on.
got so many.
I'm working on
What
two. Oh,
was it? One about your grandson that liked to play basketball?
well, that was written some months back. That's
Oh,
some months back. That was about the oldest grandson who loves basketball. So I wrote the story about him saving the basketball court, putting out a petition, having everybody sign it so that they can save the basketball court where everybody, because they want to put a development, some new apartments in that area. And he goes
wow.
out, get petitions, to save and have a game for the community in order to save the basketball court. Yeah. Yeah. So that was a while back. But the latest one I wrote was um Michelle's dream to be a nurse. I wrote that book about my daughter because she is also a nurse too. And so I made it where, she has a dream as a young child, she wants to be a nurse, and she's reading all these different books, and she eventually graduates from high school, goes to nursing school, gets her degree, gets her license, and she starts working. So that was the latest children book that I put out.
Wonderful, wonderful. I tell you, your creativity is unmatched.
Oh
You
yes,
got books for
yeah,
all the grandkids.
yeah, and I have another one that I'm working on. You see, when I'm in church or I'm out and about, and somebody's telling the story about something. So this one that I'm working on now is about a lady who's fighting this squirrel that keeps trying to eat her bird seeds, and this she's doing all kind of different things. And I'm getting this story because when I go to is actually to the church, she's in her garden, and now the squirrel is trying to eat her. Before she was fighting the ants, and I wrote a book about that. This time she's fighting a squirrel, and she's doing all kind of things to keep the squirrel from getting the bird seeds from the bird. And it's really funny when I listen to it. So I'm taking notes as she talk about it each time. Because every time I go to church, she know it's me now. So she's like, Sister Avalon, I got a new adventure. Let me tell you what happened with the squirrel today.
Oh my
So I'm
goodness.
taking notes, and I'm gonna eventually turn that into a children's book. Yes. I'm
That's
just
so
taking
cute.
notes right now. Yeah.
So cute. So cute. I tell you, I tell you. Well, I've been talking about Mother's Day weekend, and that'd be a good time for you to introduce a lot of your books during that 24-hour broadcast. I'd love to. I got to get your commercial so that we can air it during the broadcast. Maternal Matters Favored. And the website is mmfavored.org. In your career as a nurse, Avalon, did you ever have any patients that experienced mental health issues during pregnancy or after delivery?
Well, I never worked in the maternal ward, so I didn't deal with any maternal patients. I didn't work in that area. But
Okay.
in just working in general, you're always going to run into some patient, no matter what area you're working in, that has some mental problems. It's up to you, as long as they don't become combative, You sit and talk to them and try to find out what the issue is going on at that moment.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, sitting there listening to them, allowing them to just talk and vent about whatever issue. And if there's an area where you can help or give a suggestion or even refer them to someone, this is what you end up doing. This is what I
Mm-hmm.
do,
Mm-hmm.
when I
Yeah.
run into those patients. It don't necessarily have to be in the maternal ward.
Yeah. Yeah. I have been binge watching Blackish on Disney Plus, and they just had the episode where the mother gave birth to the fifth child, and the mother is a doctor. She's an anesthesiologist, and that episode was about the depression and postpartum mental challenges that she had after the birth. And
Yeah.
I love that show raised awareness on that particular topic, because nobody else is talking about it. Nobody else. So I
Now
appreciate Maternal
I
Matters
have,
favor.
not during my time at work, but outside of work, I have dealt with someone that had postpartum depression,
Mm-hmm.
and they were young, and they just didn't want to bond with the baby. They would just let the baby cry and cry and cry. And it was like I realized that the person was having postpartum depression because the family members end up picking up the baby, and it was just like the baby was crying and they just wasn't responding to the baby, or
Yeah.
I dealt with it on that level, not as a nurse, but just as a friend or a person who knowing a friend of a family type of thing.
Yeah.
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 And seeing it in motion.
Yeah. Well, the marathon begins on Saturday, May 9th, and runs until May 10th. The um, the 24 hours will be filled with testimonies and information, and just I think the testimonies that I've heard so far are just so powerful.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful thing, just a beautiful thing to see that people are getting help for what's going on.
Right. Because sometimes it's like understand, when you've birthed children and you wonder what causes that to happen, because you're
Mhm.
so, you remember when you had your baby, you were so excited, this new
Yeah,
little baby, and but then to see someone detached and just don't want to be bothered, you know,
yeah.
in that first, I saw this go on for at least a year.
Oh my goodness.
Eventually, eventually they started loving the child and all that, but in the beginning, they really didn't want anything to do with it.
Wow.
They did the
Tragic.
minimum, so at least the family members was there to help.
Yeah, yeah. That is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, it is time for our next segment. We're going to segue over to the necessity of editing. This is a quick little 6-minute video that has closed captions, so you can read along if you like. But we want everyone to know that writing a book is one aspect of publishing, but editing is another aspect. You don't want to lose your reader because you did not invest in editing. So we're going to play this little video, and we have a couple of shout outs when we get back, so we don't want you to go anywhere. We'll be back with more Books and Besties.
The necessity of editing. Hello, my name is Sonia, and I am a professional content editor. The difference between a proofreader and a content editor, as I have just recently learned, is care. A proofreader, though still respecting the boundaries of punctuation, which are very important, often will not clean up the statements that you have looped together and presented as a periodical. A content editor will read, proofread, punctuate, and clean up your content as necessary. Both are crucial, especially if you are nervous about your English skills. Today, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the necessity of editing. I am the type of person that catches the error before seeing the content. One of my biggest gripes is seeing an error on an obituary. What? Oh my goodness, these are the last words that anyone will ever read about you. Even in grief, spell check still works. I encourage you, write your own final words if you believe that your loved ones will leave grammatical and spelling errors unchecked, but I digress. In this time of artificial intelligence, I have found that our God-given intelligence has disappeared. Grammarly, ChatGPT, and those electronic assistants are convenient as a starter, kind of like a recipe for a dish. However, just like a good cook goes back and ensures they have included everything and even enhances that recipe, a great author still needs to go back over their work and finalize before completion. If you do not want to do that, I implore you to hire someone that will. A fresh eye makes a world of difference. The written word often shapes a picture of the author by the reader. When synonyms are used interchangeably, adverbs are tossed about incorrectly, and punctuation is just doing its own thing, an avid reader will lose interest in the plot and grow tired of making corrections in their head. Some authors happily pay a photographer or even an artist twice as much as the book is being sold for, just to ensure that their headshot catches the eye of the reader. However, their lack of having a second eye proofread and edit their liturgical baby leaves the reader of your masterpiece distracted and missing the point of the story. I will never forget mourning a grandparent. These arrangements of hers were taken over by a distant relative who was believed to be capable of handling this huge responsibility of presenting this decades-old life in a single 5x7 page. The misspellings of names, cities, and even occupations brought new tears to my eyes. Not only were some of these facts able to be easily researched, but the lack of care and concern before this final complimentary life story went to print was appalling. The necessity of editing is clear. I equate reading a book to watching a movie. However, you're able to place it on hold with a bookmark versus a streaming remote. Unlike a movie, the pause is controlled by your reader, not by the electronic device that allots you a full 3 minutes to pause your television stream, then return to the last spot that you were watching. A reader has the opportunity to turn the page or close the chapter, both literally and figuratively. No one wants to wade through a run-on yap session on a paper that left a dangling participle leading into a paragraph that begins, "The nectar day." What? Whose nectar? What day? Just like that, you've lost the attention of your reader. Sure, they may come back only to run into a new scenario that begins with two people speaking without proper identification, properly identified punctuation, and then this turns your reader's moment in time mental escape into a deep pondering chore, i.e. work. The AI assistants care nothing about punctuation. Their job is to lay out their opinion of what you'd like to hear and read, and your plight is to build on it while an editor's delight is to clean it up for the reader. The joy of a content editor is to take your raw thoughts, words, and emotion from babble to brilliance, From wondering to wonderful, from an unfinished read to a page turning pleasure. Friends and family are excited that you have decided to delve into this new chapter, pun intended, of your life. So criticism about your incorrect usage of your versus your won't be shared with you. However, your audiobook narrator will find themselves starting over and over again, potentially losing that new reader joy that's expressed in their voice. It's gone, and so is the listening. In conclusion, nurture your book as one would anything born from their loins. Create, spell check, give it to your hired content editor. The passing of your book from your eyes to proofer eyes will correct your missings and enhance your musings. I personally care enough to make you sound your very best. I am Sonia B., and I approve this message.
You still want to give your information to a professional editor to bring it to life. So the necessity of editing, that's it. Okay, we're going to bring Avalon back in. Hey, girl, hey.
What's going on, Angie?
I found the commercial about the ants. I was trying to look for it. What was your grandson's name? I'm looking for it.
Jaquay.
That's right. The ant warrior. That was such a good book. And you say it was inspired by somebody at church, huh?
Yeah, the same lady that's fighting the squirrels. She was fighting the ants at that time.
I love it.
The ants was in her garden.
I love it. I love it. I want to give a shout out to your grandchildren that encourage you to write these books. That's really special.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely special. Absolutely. So, what advice do you have for somebody that wants to write a children's book?
Well, with me, when I wrote the children books for my grandchildren, it was based on things that the children like. But I mean, you can just any story. You can take any story really and turn it into a children's book. You just got to write your notes down. Like me, I find things in the environment, things that they like. I listen to other people's stories and turn them into children books. But children books for me, it's easier to write now than if I'm going to do a novel. The children books are easier for me. I can complete a children's book because I do like a picture book. So I don't have to write a lot, maybe one or two sentences when it comes to a children's book. But like the novels, you got to really sit and think and see which direction you want to go on. But for me, children books aren't that hard to write anymore. I can pretty much get it done in a week.
Wow.
In between things because, like I say, I don't have to write much in a children's book, and based on what age I'm writing about, because most of my children books have been, I guess, from age 15 down, except for the grandson with the basketball that can go a little higher. But most of mine are for the for the younger group. I have written down to the last grandchild, which is a great grandchild, and he's 2 years old. So I've written about him playing with his truck. So basically, I had to use different pictures and different instances in the house when he's playing with his yellow truck because he have a favorite yellow truck.
Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. Let me answer this question right quick. To McQueen is asking if they missed Marisol. And yes, you did. She was our first guest this morning. So be sure you like and set the little bell so you'll get a notification. And then you'll be able to watch our replay and see her great interview. She is
Yes.
a fabulous young lady. Fabulous. So and her dad and grandmother were in the audience, so she got family support as well.
Yes, she does.
Family support. Well, it looks like we've got Douglas Smith that will be joining us in just a few minutes. Douglas Smith is joining us. So can you read his bio for me, please, Avalon?
Yes, another. Douglas Smith is a 5-time award-winning author described by the Library Journal as one of Canada's most original writers of speculative fiction. His work includes the multi-award-winning urban fantasy trilogy, The Dream Rider Saga, The Hollow Boys, The Crystal Key, The Lost Expedition. This is a herbal fantasy novel. Also, he has The Wolf at the End of the World, the
Oh,
collections of Chimascope Impossibilia,
wow.
Laudaci. He's going to have to pronounce some of these words. They're in a different language. And the
Mm,
Writers Guild, Playing the Short Game, How to Market and Sell Short Fiction. His short fiction has appeared in the top markets in the field, including the magazine Fantasy and Science Fiction,
mm,
Amazing Stories, Interzone, Weird Tales, Bayon's Universe, Escape Pod, the Mammoth Book of Best New Horror, the year's Best Canada Fantasy and Sci-Fi on Spec and published in 28 languages.
mm,
Douglas have won Canada's Aurora Award 4 times, as well as juried IAP Award. He's been a finalist for the Astounding Award, CBC's Books Award, Canada's
mm,
Jury Sunburst Award, the
mm.
Jury Alberta Magazine Award for Fiction, and
Wow.
France's Jury Prix Masterton and Pix Bob's Moran.
Wow.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Let's bring Mr.
A
Douglas Smith
mouthful.
in. That was a mouthful.
That was a
Well,
mouthful.
welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much, ladies, for having me on. I'll start with an apology. I got to come up with a much shorter bio. I did not think you would have to read that out loud. So I do apologize.
That's okay. You know, some of the words that I did not pronounce or in another language, you might have to like kind of go over and tell us more about what I glassed over because there was a couple.
Yeah,
If
the
you remember.
last two words are actually words in France. So it's Prix. They pronounce prix, which is French for prize. So that's all.
Oh, okay.
And I think there
Okay.
was
Okay.
my most recent book is called Borderlands with a Z at the end because there's too many titles of books that spell it correctly. So I needed something different.
Yeah. So just tell us about yourself. I know I read a lot, but you know, you can tell us about yourself in your own
Sure.
words.
Um, guess from a writing point of view, I started writing in the late '90s, and I started with short fiction, and then I moved I moved to novels. The way I describe it is as my short stories stopped being short. I figured my brain was trying to tell me something, so I moved to the longer form, and I'm working on my fifth novel now. I've had four published. Um, I live in a suburb northeast of Toronto in Ontario, Canada, with my wife and our youngest son. Um, let's see, got an older son, got a granddaughter. They're both in Toronto as well, and I probably would go on far too long talking about my kids. My granddaughter is a independent musician, singer, songwriter, performer. So I have a lot of fun going to her shows too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you write fiction? Why is that what the way you've decided to go?
I've always been an avid reader. Like since my parents said I was reading when I was by the time I was 3. I just always loved stories. Um, I think I think everyone is born creative.
Mm.
And then Western society then proceeds to beat it out of us by the time we hit high school, right? So
Mm.
you might come home with a cute little story or a painting or something when you're in grade school, and your mom will put it up on the fridge. But
Mhm.
once you hit middle of high school, if you're saying, yeah, I want to be a writer or a songwriter or a painter, that's going to be my career. Your parents probably and most of society is going to say, no, you'll never make a living at that. So they start to discourage it. Um, and I discovered a book. I don't know if you ladies have come across it. It's called The Artist's Way by
Mm.
Julia Cameron. And
Mm.
it's essentially a 12-week program for, as she describes it, how to recover your creativity. Basically, how to recover the creativity that we're all born with, and then have it beaten out of us by Western world. Um, and I started reading that about the time I had another event, which was my all-time favorite author. I came home from a family vacation, and the first things I read was his obituary. A chap by the name of Roger Zelazny. He's an American science fiction and fantasy writer, and he died at age 56 from cancer. So at this point, I'm about 40, and I'd always told myself I would write someday. I always wanted to be a writer. I said, well, someday, I'm going to pursue that dream. And I think his death just kind of brought it home to me that none of us are guaranteed a someday, right? So
Right.
I sat down and started writing short stories that summer and sending them out to short fiction markets, which back then was you printed it out, you put it in an envelope, and you mailed it to somebody. Now it's all by email or an online portal. Um, and New Year's Eve of the following year, New Year's Eve day, I got my first acceptance, which was
Mm.
a great way to go into a new year. So
Mm. Mm.
there, I just kept writing. Why do I do it? I don't know. I think most of my fellow writer friends, we do it because we get these stories in our heads, and the only way you can get them out of there, the only way you can stop them from bugging you, constantly nattering at you, is to write them down into a story. So it kind of
Mm.
exercises that ghost out of your head.
Mhm. Mhm. That makes sense.
Wow.
Yep. You can't
Yes.
leave a character standing on the street corner. That's what my friend says. They'll just keep haunting you.
Yeah, that's exactly the way. And once you write the story, I find it's sometimes it keeps bugging you, and that's sort of the hint that okay, I've got more to say about these characters. And
Right.
um, might have been a short story, but I guess I'm going to be writing a novel about them sometime.
My goodness.
So what would you say your success is in winning all these awards? What helps you win all these awards?
Um, I guess some of it's luck, but mostly it's persistence. It's the same way. I tell beginning writers the writer who's going to win or have the most success in this game is the one who writes the most stories, and then keeps those stories out in front of markets. If we're talking about short stories, so write a story, send it out to a market. Write another story while you're waiting to hear back on that one. Send it out to another market. So just write more stories and keep them out in front of editors, someone who has the power to actually, pay you money and buy the story and publish it. A lot of beginning writers, especially, they'll do that, and then they'll get a rejection back on one of those early stories, and some of them just stop right there. When I started writing, my average, I think, would be I'd get 20 rejections before I'd get a sale. And the thing is, you can't get that sale until you get those 20 rejections. So you just got to keep sending it out, keeping it out in the market. And it may be a great story. I mean, sometimes you'll get rejection letters, and the editor will say, "Really like this one. We're not going to buy it, but we really like it. We want to see more from you." Those are, if you're a beginning writer, those are the first steps, the first indications you're getting that your writing has improved, and
Yes.
you're getting to you're getting close to being publishable.
Okay.
So just write more, send them out, and have a thick skin, and just ignore rejections. Rejections mean you're part of you're in the game. You're swinging at the ball.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, because the whole self-publishing era has taken over. I think we need to be reminded that our work is good enough to submit to a publisher, and not just rely on self-publishing. So you've encouraged me for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I
keep putting it out.
Keep putting it out there. For sure. And a lot of beginning writers I'll talk to, they'll talk about, they write a short story and they just put it out online somewhere, and I encourage them that for short fiction, you need to submit it to a market. That's how you build a resume, and that's how you learn your craft. Because if you're sending out stories and you keep getting rejections, you're not good enough yet. If you start to get encouraging rejections, that means you're improved. Short fiction is a great way to learn how to write, because example I give, beginning writer could sit down, the first thing they write is a 100,000 word novel. It's going to be terrible. Absolutely guarantee, if that's the first time they've tried to write fiction. And instead, if they did 25,000 word short stories, that's still 100,000 words. But in those short stories, you can try more things. You can try different genres. You can try a first person point of view, third person point of view, multiple narrators. You can just try out more things. So by the end of those 100,000 words, the way I describe it is you've got more tools in your writer's toolbox than if you just sat down and wrote one giant novel. You'll learn a lot more.
Yeah.
And if you're sending them out, you're getting feedback. You're starting to get at the end of those 20 stories. I guarantee you're gonna sell a few of them.
Okay. We have a question that came in through text. Are you a full-time author now?
I can say that, yes, because I'm retired from the day job. but I didn't retire from the day job because my writing made me, independently wealthy. Um, it's especially if you're starting out as short fiction, you're not going to make a lot of money in that. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, my my life now is writing and doing whatever else I want, which lately has been keeping this house together.
Yeah. Well, that is wonderful. Avalon retired from over 40 years as a nurse, and now she's a full-time author.
Full-time author.
I read your bio. That's an interesting
Yeah.
background. A lot of years as a nurse.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah. So now I'm into writing nursing books. So different types. Yeah. But what I like to ask, because I'm hearing you saying about the rejection and stuff, the you went through a literary agent that helped you get
No,
a book deal. Is that the way you went? Direction?
no. Okay. So I'll give you a quick summary. So I started out writing short fiction. You send those out yourself. You just find a market. You find out what their submission guidelines are. They'll have that on every one of their websites, and that tells you how you send in a short story to them. And then when I had enough short stories, the first book length work I put out was a collection, which is you take some of those stories that you sold, you put them into a book. Um, and I went through, I didn't go through an agent. I had a lot of contacts in the publishing industry. My first collection was
Okay.
through a publisher in the UK, a small publisher. They're not like one of the big four or however many are left. Um, and then my second collection, I had actually writer friends who decided to start a small press, which ended up being quite successful in Canada, in Toronto. So my second collection was with them. Um, and then after that, I put out my four novels were all indie published, independently published. So you hire the editor, you hire the copy editor, you hire the cover artist that you want. And
Mm.
by now,
Get
I've
it
learned
together.
how yeah, and you put the book together, you put out a print version, and you just learn how you can get those into the retail channels. So
Mm.
you go into
Mm.
any bookstore and say, I would like you to order in this book by Douglas Smith, and they can get it through one of the major print distributors. Or you can
Mm.
go to any retailer and get any of my ebooks. So no, didn't use an agent, and by the time I put out the three collections, um, I I was convinced that the route to go was indie, complete control over the product, over what you want to write, over the publishing schedule, and I really do not see any upside for a traditional publishing route. Other than there's still a lot of writers out there who just want that sort of stamp of
Yes.
approval. I
Yes.
think there's a lot who still think there's a stigma in indie. I call it indie. I don't call it self-publishing. Um, the analogy I use is a filmmaker. If you know a independent filmmaker, you don't call them a self-producing filmmaker. They're an indie. Musicians are indies, so authors are indies as well.
Okay. Okay, we learned something new today. Learned something
Well,
new.
that's
Yes.
my bias. That's my bias. The self-publishing term was invented by the traditional publishers, and it was meant to be derogatory.
Mm. Mm. Gotcha. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break so I can play these couple of videos. Don't go anywhere, Mr. Smith. We'll be right back with more Books and Besties.
Divinely chosen, the Lord God with a master plan. Dr. Doretha Smith's book has an inspiring message of faith, purpose, and divine guidance through heartfelt reflections and spiritual insight. She reminds readers that God's plan is always perfect even when life feels uncertain. This book is a call to trust in His timing. Follow His directions and embrace the unique calling He has placed upon your life. With wisdom grounded in scripture and personal testimony, Dr. Smith empowers you to step boldly into your God-given destiny, knowing you have been divinely chosen for a purpose greater than yourself. Divinely Chosen, the Lord God with the Master Plan, written by Dr. Doretha Smith. Search for Divinely Chosen Lord Master Plan on Amazon. And don't forget to leave a review.
Hi, this is author Avalon Celeste Brown. I am the visionary of this project. Recently, I've been speaking to different nurses who have been expressing and voicing their challenges and their frustration while working in the field. So I decided to reach out to different nurses from different specialties and bring them together to create a book so that they can write about their experiences, their challenges, their frustrations that they experienced in nursing and how they overcame them and why those challenges did not make them quit. This is going to be a very important book for the next generation of nurses because they can see that they are not alone out there. The nurses before you have gone through these same type of challenges, these same frustration, but they never allowed it to make them quit because nursing is their passion. And this is what we want you to know. Keep your passion. Never let them make you quit.
Audiobook produced and promoted by Angie BEE Productions. A Conversation with Mama.
Many will come on this segment and they will come because they need to have a conversation with their mama.
Amen.
A Conversation with Mama is a series of episodes that discuss different topics that are important to you. Standing on God's Word and the Scripture as found in Proverbs 31:26. Now it's time for today's episode of A Conversation with Mama. Sundays at 3:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I'm excited about A Conversation with Mama. It returns on Mother's Day, and I cannot wait for you to experience that show. Just such an anointing that falls fresh upon the co-hosts. It just, A Conversation with Mama. It's just a very important show, and we're excited to bring it back to you for season 2, beginning on Mother's Day. Don't forget to log on to mmfavored.org to learn about the 24 Hours of Favor. We're excited to be a part of that, broadcasting for 24 consecutive hours to raise awareness and funds for maternal matters favored. All right, let's bring my co-host back. And I'm thinking that our guest today has encouraged us to maybe submit some of our new writing to publication houses. He said you used to have to print it and mail it, but now it's just an upload.
Upload.
Yep, we may have to we may have to work on something together.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun. Well, let's bring Mr. Douglas back in. Do you have any of your books handy that you can show us the book cover? Let us see what you got.
Hang on, I normally don't, and then it occurred to me on a recent podcast that that was really stupid. I probably should
Ah,
have them available. So this is my second collection called Chimeroscope. This one came out from a Canadian small publisher, and
Mm,
it was a finalist for three different awards,
nice.
and
oh,
it's got a couple of award-winning stories in it. Um,
okay.
and this one, and there's science fiction and fantasy, and that this is it's reversed on my screen. I don't know if people can
No,
read it.
it's looking
It's
fine on
right.
Oh,
yeah, it
Yeah.
okay.
looks fine.
So this is called The Wolf at the End of the World, and it's a what's called urban fantasy. So that's basically any fantastical story that takes place in modern day. A lot of it often in the cities. This one actually, most of it takes place in a small northern Ontario town. And the fantastic element is shapeshifters. I've got a species called the Haroka, and they are environmental activists because each of them is tied to a different animal species. They have
Oh,
a different totem, and
Mhm.
their vitality as a species is dependent on the vitality of their animal species. So
wow.
as animal habitats are being destroyed or being encroached upon, that actually affects not just the animals but the shapeshifters' vitality as well.
Okay.
So that's the underlying message here. It's an environmental theme uh, to the book and to the stories. I wrote three short stories in that world before I came back to that was my first novel. Um,
Okay.
and it uses a lot of Cree and Ojibwe storytelling traditions, and
Okay.
I did a lot of research on that aspect of it, including staying at an Ojibwe First Nations reserve in Northern Ontario and meeting with the chief and interviewing her mother, etc. And it was fascinating. I just really loved that part, um, that culture. Because it's based on respect for the earth and respect for the animals and respect for the environment. Um, they have their origin of the world is that earth and the sun and water and everything was created first, then the plants, then the plant eaters, then the meat eaters, and finally humans. And the message there is that humans were created last because we are the most dependent, we're the weakest of all. We need everything else that went before. And I just like that because it immediately builds into your cultural beliefs that the earth is important in protecting the environment and the animals and the plants and the water and everything is important. And then my next novel, this is the first book in the trilogy.
Oh,
Mm,
It's called The Hollow Boys, and this is again an urban fantasy. And this is aimed at adults and young adults. Its two protagonists are 17-year-old teenage boy and girl. Um, and in a nutshell, he his parents were sort of had a dubious reputation of artifact collectors, ancient artifact collectors, maybe not getting the artifacts by legal means. Um, but they were very successful. But on one expedition, um, they disappeared. They had taken him. He was only, I think, 8 years old at the time, and no one knows why. He was the only one who was found. He has no memory of what happened. He comes back with two things: back with this strange power that he can walk into dreams. So when he sleeps, he enters a dream world, and he can enter other people's dreams, and he uses that to sort of become a superhero to track down criminals and people who the police and the authorities can't catch. But his other thing that he brought back was he has severe agoraphobia, so he can't go outside. So I just like this combination of someone who, when he sleeps, he's pretty well all powerful, but in his waking world, he's very restricted in terms of what his life can be. And then the other main character is a street kid named Case, who lives in the street with her younger brother, and they come together early in the first book, and her brother has disappeared. And she basically employs him to help her find him. She's pretty independent, so she's also out there looking herself. But it's it's a mystery that covers all three books. There's a separate mystery in the first book and the second book, but overall, you don't find out what happened to Will, the boy, and why Case and Fader also have some strange abilities. You don't find that out until the very end of the book three. And it's been well received. They're all like at least 4.5 stars on Amazon. All three books are out. I wrote them all before I published any of them, based on the advice of a writer friend, who's a well-known Canadian author, Charles DeLint. He had put out a trilogy himself, and first advice he gave to me, I told him I was thinking of doing this, so he said, write all of them before you publish one of them. Because you ladies are writers, you probably wouldn't realize that if you put out one book and then it's out there in the world and you're writing the second one and you think of something, wow, I can't do that because I did this in the first book. So you're kind of tying your own hands.
Okay.
So from a reader's perspective, they're all available. You don't have to worry if I'm going to finish the series or what.
Yeah, because I've met people that read faster than the books come out, and then they're frustrated. Yeah. When's the next book coming out? When's the next one? So, yeah, that makes perfectly good sense. Listen, Mr. Smith, I want to put your contact information up on the screen. Do you have a website or an email address that our audience can contact you?
Probably the easiest is just point people to my website, which is smithwriter, all one word, .com.
Can you spell that for me, please?
Sure. SMITHWRITER. Smithwriter.com.
Okay, got it.
And you can find my links to my books there. You can find email contact and everything. So social media links if you want to follow me on Facebook or Blue Sky or whatever.
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead, Avalon. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I was going to ask him, are any of your characters based on any reality, or how did you get the inspiration for these characters? To develop these characters?
Yeah, no, I've never based characters on real people. I know some writers do. I think any writer I know, they are like voyeurs. They just study people and listen to conversations, and any character I put together is an amalgam of multiple people that I've known, and I couldn't point to any characteristic of any character that says, okay, I got that from that person. They're just people who live in my head and now live on paper. So no, they're all completely fictional.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah. it's what I enjoy the most, I think, and most people, if they make a comment about my writing, it's that they enjoy the characters. I just really enjoy creating different characters and bringing them to life.
That is wonderful. You have really inspired us today. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
Awesome.
I hope it's been inspiring.
Of course.
I think we have a question for you that just came through. The viewer pretty much wants to know, have you ever self-published, or have you always gone through a publisher?
Okay, so I covered that, and sort of the answer is yes and no, or yes to both. So short stories, those would be traditionally published because you're submitting it to us, a magazine publisher or an anthology publisher. And then my collections were traditionally published, but with small presses. Most of the big traditional presses, if your viewers are going that route and they're going to want to put out a collection of short fiction, the big traditional publishers, unless you're a huge name like a Stephen King or one of the more well-known authors in your genre, big publisher is not going to want to put out your collection because collections don't make as much money. They're not as profitable as novels. But a lot of the small presses will do collections. That's their specialties. And then when I moved to novels, all the novels have been indie published. So it's sort of standard traditional publishing for short fiction, small press traditional publishing for my collections, and then indie publishing for the novels. And in that order, so that was the progression.
You got it. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard that it's hard to get to the big publishing companies unless you can find a literary agent that will represent you.
The traditional route, if you want to go to one of the big New York publishers, the traditional route has always been to go through an agent. It's not the only way. Most of those publishers will have what they call open submission windows during the year. So there'll be some period when you can submit to them. I submitted my first book, and that was a little, that one, to Penguin, back before they were Random House Penguin Random House, in Canada. And the acquiring editor I submitted to loved it. The deal is you have to get another editor on board, so they'll back your book as well, and then you have to get the publisher on board. And I got all three of those, so it looked like I was going to have a traditional publishing deal for them. And then marketing looked at it and they said, I don't know if we could sell this, which, they said, maybe if it was YA, I don't know, could he rewrite it as YA? And I said no. So that fell through. I ended up indie publishing that. But from my point of view, it was kind of okay. So this book is good enough that they actually wanted to publish it. Confident putting it out myself. It depends. Do your research.
That's the next question. That's the next question that just came in. What is the age range? Are these young adult books or adults, adult only? Who's your target audience?
For the Wolf, well, for my collections, I mean, pretty well everything I've written is aimed at adults, but I was reading this sort of stuff when I was 10. So none of it is going to warp your mind or anything. it's all PG. Um, the Wolf, my first novel, is aimed at adults. It was written specifically intended as an adult book. But again, any teenager could read it. I've had 10-year-olds read. The Dream Rider trilogy. This is book one. That is generally it's marketed as YA, but I tell people it's YA adult crossover, which means adults are gonna enjoy it just as much. All of my writing group is all adults. My beta readers were all adults. My ARC advanced reader group that puts up reviews early when the book's released, they're all adults. So they all loved it. There is no issue. So that's why I describe it that way. It's got teenage protagonists in it, but it can be read by.
Okay.
And given that it's YA, yes, and they're 17 years old, there is sex, but it's all off screen, fade to black kind of thing.
Okay. Crossover from young adult to adult. I learned something. Thank you, Mr. Smith. I think we've got all of our audience questions. I'm double checking. I don't want to lose you and then somebody else had a question, but thank you so much for your patience, your wisdom, your knowledge, and I appreciate you. Do you have any final comments you'd like to make to people that are thinking about following in your footsteps?
Just that if you want to be a writer, you need to be a reader. So make sure you read a lot. And then the only other piece of advice is persistence. You have to write a lot, and you have to keep those stories out there. That if I wasn't explicit before, start with short fiction. I just think it's the right way to start. It's a better way to learn how to be a writer.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The only other thing is thank you very much for having me on. This has been nice. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Been a pleasure. Yes.
Yeah. All right. You enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay in touch.
And you too. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Right. You're welcome. Bye-bye. Oh, wow. I learned so much. I'm trying to take notes.
A lot from him. Yeah. A lot. Yes.
Yeah. That was great. Yes. Very grateful for everything.
A lot of advice, and things to think about.
Fiction, science fiction, shapeshifters. Yeah.
I don't know if I have a mind for science fiction. I don't know, because I really don't even look at those type of shows. Even as a child, I never really got into those type of science fiction shows. So I don't think my mind, I'd have to really, really think.
Yeah. Well, I want to read some of his work. I'm going to the website as soon as we get off the air. I just because I love Star Trek, Star Wars, anything in outer space, Artemis 2, everything.
Yeah, that's your,
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Oh, I hear a little voice.
Yeah, my little great grandson had something to say.
Well, we are getting ready to get out of here. We appreciate all of you for joining us on Books and Besties today. And if it's the Lord's will, we'll be back with more authors, more entrepreneurs, more fascinating people. We'll be back with more. Thank you, Avalon. I appreciate your help.
Have a great weekend. You too.
All right.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.